Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Crossing the Line. It's only just begun start of the new year, and the US is already bombing some mud huts in the Middle East. So we're going to take a look at this story today. We've got a couple of stories here. Joe Biden has decided that it is time to start World War III, and he's going to start bombing Iran, Syria, and Iraq in the next escalation of World War III, starting with the Houthi rebels have actually killed 3 US soldiers in some airstrikes with drones in the last couple of days. And the US finally retaliated after about a week of deliberation. And we're going to take a look at that here today. US begins strikes on militants in Iraq, Syria, retaliating for fatal drone attack, officials say. Satellite photo from Planet the PBC shows military base at Tower 22, the northeast of Jordan, Monday 29th, 2024. Now, you can see these guys have been targeting shipping lanes in the sea there and harassing a large amount of shipping lanes. It was just causing a lot of economic strife to the rest of the world, and the US has had enough of that after 3 US soldiers were killed in a drone strike in Syria the other day. Now, I know what you're asking. What are US soldiers doing in that part of the world? I didn't know we were actually at war with them. News to me, but Trump did try to get the soldiers out of there when he was in office, and they ignored his orders, broke any sort of presidential leadership role he had, and just ignored what he told them to do, and ignored his orders, and lied to him, saying that they did get the soldiers out, when in fact they did not. Obviously, this is why these people were killed, and it's sad to say that these 3 American soldiers did not need to be there. They did not need to be there. They should have been at home with their families. But no, Joe Biden seemed it fit for them to be bombed and killed in this attack for absolutely no reason. Washington, the US military launched an air assault on dozens of sites in the Iraq and Syria used by Iranian-backed militants and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard QUDS Force Friday. I don't know how to pronounce it. I apologize. In the opening salvo of retaliation of the drone strike that killed 3 US troops in Jordan last weekend, officials told the Associated Press. President Joe Biden at the top of US leaders had been warning for days that America would strike back at the militants and made it clear it wouldn't be just one hit, but a tiered response over time. The officials confirming the initial strike spoke on condition of anonymity to discuss military operations not yet announced. So, in a very, cheese-brained idea, they announced that they were going to strike back and gave them about a week to prepare before they did so. So they have moved any of those people that launched the attack, any of the equipment that launched the attack. They have obviously been moved from those sites and hidden away under bunkers or out of the country even. And so Joe Biden's basically just bombed those countries and probably hit nothing in response. It says here, strikes were manned and unarmed. Met by manned and armed aircraft hit more than 85 targets, including command and control headquarters, intelligence centers, rockets and missile drones, and ammunition storage sites and other facilities. The US Central Command said that the strikes used more than 125 precision munitions, and they were delivered by numerous aircraft, including long-range bombers flown from the United States. One official said B-1 bombers were used. Now, if you give the enemy a week to prepare for your retaliation, I'm pretty sure they're going to move anything of substance, move anything of importance out of those areas. So he's probably just bombed some sort of civilian structures or killed some poor people that live in mud huts, as usual, what the Americans are doing, bombing Middle Eastern countries and countries that can't defend themselves nearly as much as the US can. But Joe Biden seems to really be pushing for World War III at the moment. He is ignoring all these issues in the Middle East to the point where they have to retaliate. He's not trying for any sort of peace talks. Same with anything going on in the Ukraine. They are not trying for any sort of peace talks. They are actively denying peace talks in any of these conflicts. And they are letting it get to the point where they have to retaliate, where they do have to drop bombs on people and kill people, to the point where this is only going to escalate any further. They cannot back down. Iran won't back down because they will be seen as weak and useless to their people. They cannot let the Americans get away with this. They'll retaliate, and America would retaliate. This is just an ongoing, escalating situation that no one with cooler heads seems to have prevailed here, and it's got to the point where they're dropping cruise missiles and bombs on targets. Now, the Houthi rebels are a force that is mildly annoying to the US military, I'd say. They could probably completely wipe them out, but the issue here is if they do that, they're starting war with several countries at that time, and they all know a lot of these militars are backed and are propped up by the Iranian regime, but they cannot and should not really, honestly, go out of their way to just carpet bomb Iran. I know Nikki Haley and Joe Biden see eye to eye on that. They really do want to bomb those places. And I think it's going to escalate getting closer to the next election. They have so much shit going on in the US at the moment. They have got a civil war brewing on the border. They've got massive illegal immigration. You can see all the footage coming out of Texas. They've got massive issues with Russia and Ukraine sending billions of dollars over there. And now they're starting World War III, not to mention Israel as well. And the tensions rising in the east where China and Taiwan could come into a conflict. And the US is looking very weak. It's generally all due to Joe Biden because his brain is basically Swiss cheese at this point, and he's just propped up by whatever pharmaceutical drugs they can inject into him, or whether they're using props, or whether they're using people that just look like him to impersonate him. I don't know, but whatever they're injecting him with, whether it's adrenochrome or it's just straight cocaine and rhino ball juice, I don't know. But they are trying to keep him alive and keep him going until the end of the election cycle. A lot of people are saying that they can't run him. He will not finish this race. They're going to swap him out for someone like Gavin Newsom or something like that. I don't give him that much credit. Honestly, I don't think they have thought ahead that much. I think they're that stupid and they're just, no, we've got to run Joe Biden to keep the Democratic Party in power. I don't think they've thought ahead that much. I know they're probably worried about it. I mean, we've seen leaked videos from James O'Keefe where the White House and staff are saying that, yeah, we know he's mentally compromised and we know it's an issue and we know we can't run Kamala Harris and we don't know what we're doing, basically. It's terrifying. What are they going to do if Trump gets through all these hurdles they're throwing out in front of him, which I think he will, unless they actually imprison him? Even then, if he can still run from prison, I think he'd still win if Joe Biden's the president. What are they going to do if Biden doesn't step down, doesn't get out of the way, and they're not able to put someone else in his place, which I don't think they will. I don't think Joe Biden's about to step down. It's a lot of people saying, a lot of spectators are saying that he will. They can't run him. But we see that the amount of inept actions that they're taking, they just don't know what they're doing half the time. They're getting caught out on a lot of these lies, and they're not even trying to hide it anymore. So I reckon they will run him against Donald Trump all the way to the end, if he survives that long anyway, or dementia's going to get him, or whatever's going to get him. Him starting World War III and a civil war and a border war at the same time, it's not going to end well for anyone. And I think we've got a big issue here in the Middle East. If Joe Biden keeps raising the stakes, it says there it's a pressure cooker situation. If they keep adding fire to it, it's just gonna explode and everyone's gonna get hurt. It's gonna be a nightmare. Now we'll keep reading this story here from military.com. Omar Abu Layla, a European-based activist who heads the Dia Ezor 24 media outlet, says the strikes hit areas in Syria, including the countryside of the Madian, Quetta, and Rabah, which is home to the telecommunications center for the Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard, and an arms depot in Bokmal, along with Iraq border. The assault came from just hours after Biden and the top defense leaders joined grieving families to watch the remains of 3 Army Reserve soldiers who were united at the US Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. It was unclear what the next steps will be, whether it's the day's US warnings have sent military members scattering into hiding making it more difficult to detect and strike them. But it was evident that the recent statement released by Kateb Hezbollah, one of the main Iran-backed militias, saying it was suspending attacks on American troops, had no impact on the administration's plans. So they go and attack and kill three American troops, and they say, "Okay, we're done. That's enough. Sorry, we didn't mean to." They do need to be taken out, but America does not need to be starting World War III over it. Giving them a week's notice, it seems like it's planned so they can fire back, and then no one's going to be killed. No one's going to be hit there. It's kind of like when I think it was Syria bombed at least 2 or 3 American bases, and they gave Trump plenty of warning it was going to happen so they could move their troops out of the area. It was just like to save face, if anything. These are the kind of powers, and these are the kind of disgusting things that rich, influential politicians and people leading these countries do. They toil and puppeteer with people's lives and livelihoods just to save some face in the media. And to their people. It's disgusting the way they treat everyday citizens of their country, whether it's America, or Australia, or Iran, Syria, it doesn't matter. They all do the same thing. It's just we're pawns to be moved around in their chess game. Now, we've got some disturbing things, like Joe Biden. We all know he's mentally inept, and he's lost the plot. He is not capable of stringing a few words together without falling over, shitting himself, and eating some ice cream and saying the wrong thing. Now, he has for years claimed false things, lied. He has stolen other people's quotes, pretended they were his. Not to mention all of the sniffing of children and things like that we all know he does. There's plenty of videos of that. But the other day, when Joe Biden meets with a family of 3 US troops killed in Jordan drone attack, now, President meeting with the families of the victims is usually a pretty solemn moment, and it's you wouldn't want to poke fun at it, you wouldn't want to make fun of it. But Joe Biden, yet again, has claimed that his son was killed in the Iraq War when he wasn't. He died of cancer, and these poor families. Now, I feel bad for these families because I've had family that served in the military, and I can't imagine what they're going through. It's terrible news for them. They shouldn't have died. These people should have been home with their families. He yet again claims that his son Bo has lost his life in Iraq to this family on the phone, and it's sad. This poor family probably knows that that's a lie, or whether he's lying or whether he just thinks that's what happened because he's Alzheimer's. Who knows? But I don't even think this is Joe Biden on the phone. It sounds too mentally equipped to put words together to be Joe Biden. But we'll take a listen here, and thoughts and prayers out for this family and the families who have lost their loved ones in the war. And it's sad to say, but I'm going to say this family probably voted for Biden. If that's the husband there, that's the mother. This family's voting for this. If you vote Democrat, if you vote for Biden, if you vote for the warmonger party, which has actually switched sides in the last decade or so, if you vote for that, then these are the phone calls you can expect. These are the things you can expect, is relatives and family and friends dying for no reason. Your vote matters. It really does. Like, if you don't want to go to war, you don't want to see World War III, don't vote for people who actively promote World War and bomb people without any sort of like thought for the people at home who might suffer the consequences of.
I know there's nothing anybody can say or do to ease the pain. I've been there.
Yes, sir, we understand.
Well, I tell you what, it means a lot to me. My son spent a year in Iraq. That's how I lost him.
Now, if World War III wasn't a big enough issue, Biden is actively pushing for civil war on the border of Texas. Elon Musk blasts Biden's border policy. Every deportation is a lost vote. They want one-party state. Now, over the last couple of months, even the last 12 months with Joe Biden's regime in the US, they have had millions upon millions of people enter the US illegally through the border. Trump wanted to build a wall. He wanted to get the border locked down. And as soon as he was out of government, the Biden administration ripped open the border and actively facilitated bringing people into the country illegally. Now, these officers and border agents who are bringing these people into the country illegally and transporting them around the state and around the country should be locked up, put in prison for breaking American laws. And Joe Biden is complicit in that. He is actually facilitating that. His whole government is facilitating the overrunning of the American population with illegal immigrants from the southern border. He is butting heads currently with Greg Abbott in Texas over who controls the border there, and Greg Abbott is actually standing up for his people of the great state of Texas and stopping illegal immigrants from entering the state and entering the country. He is doing more than any other person, even in the Biden administration, has done to stop any of these illegal immigrants entering the country. And he is being flagged for it. He is being harassed for it. And the federal government is arming troops and sending them down to Texas. And whether or not they have some sort of kerfuffle with the local authorities and a shot is fired, causing a civil war, who knows? This is getting more dangerous as the days go on. Tensions are rising. There are more and more people getting sent to the border. Florida has sent people. Ron DeSantis has actually pulled out his head from his ass and done something to help the country instead of that stupid campaign he just ran. That was ultimately a waste of $200 million, I believe. And he's actually doing something great for Texas. He is sending some troops down there to help National Guard to help with the border. And this is what they need to do. They need to cut off the massive flow of illegal immigrants entering the country. And they're not just coming from Mexico. They're coming from China, Iran, Syria, Palestine, places like that, Russia. They are entering from the southern border. They are entering completely unknown who they are. They dump their passports at the border and they enter completely unknown. They don't know who they are or what their intentions are, and they're just letting them in by the millions of them. 10,000 a day of the last report I saw. Can you imagine 10,000 people here in Australia? That is about the size of my local town. That is about 10,000 people every single day there. They've let at least 2 million people in since Biden took over. That is insane. That is so many people that just cannot keep up with the massive influx of people into the country. And it's not like they're doctors and nurses and mechanics and builders and engineers and technicians and that. These people are undocumented. They're unqualified. They generally probably don't even speak the language. They're not even just Mexican. They're from all over the world. Sudan, places like that. No way in hell they're going to integrate into local communities if they can't even speak English. And they are living off the state. They are getting, they're in New York, they're getting given credit cards and housing in not homeless shelters, but high-scale hotels and motels. The homeless people in America and homeless veterans in America don't even get that. They get food stamps and a boot up the ass. This is why the American government, the Biden government at the moment, is actively fueling civil war in the country. I believe that they are trying to lock down their position as the authority in the next coming 12 months before Donald Trump can win the election. And they might even throw the entire election out because they are at war, because they're too busy. We can't do it. We're in a civil war. We're in a World War III situation. We can't have an election. That's a bit of a conspiracy, but it seems to be getting truer and truer by the day. And I just see it all lining up to become an absolute shit show there in the US over the next 12 months. What do you guys think anyway? Do you think World War III is imminent? Do you think civil war in the US is imminent? Now, I think if civil war kicks off in the US, other things will kick off around the world. I think China will move on Taiwan. I think Russia will move into Ukraine with full force of their military power, whether they have to use nukes or whatever they have to use to get it done. They will not secede ground to Ukraine. They will go in there full force and wipe them out if the US is completely kneecapped by civil war or a World War III situation in the Middle East. There's a lot of people sitting there idly by, waiting for the US to fall, waiting for the US to fail and become very busy, too busy to deal with them. And a lot of those plans will come to fruition if civil war breaks out of the US, breaks out in Texas, even some sort of small conflict that could distract them and maybe even cause the cancellation of the next election this year. Who knows? What do you guys think anyway? Let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Don't forget to leave a like, a share, and subscribe to the channel. Comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.